Hello fellow geeks and welcome back to Running Geek Girl. It is that time again. The month is over and it's time to just take a look back at what's happened over the month of August. But first of all, whether this is your first time here or your fifth time here, make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below so that you don't miss any of the running content that I have coming out all the time. It really does help out the channel and it doesn't cost you a thing. Well, let's start off by taking a look at how training went. I'm going to be up front with you. This was a rough month. There was so much going on. I had physical challenge, mental challenges, emotional challenges, scheduling challenges. It was not the easiest month to get through, but let's go ahead and take a look at how training went over this last month. And welcome to August training. Now, I have had kind of a treat this week because the temperature has dropped a bit, so my pace has dropped as well, which gives me big hopes for how things are going to go this fall. So here's hoping that things work out. Getting a little bit more consistency in the strength training. I'm doing the best I can with the time that I have. Who knew things would get so busy so quickly? You know, that's just this time of year. As far as my long run this weekend, I treated myself to a nice trail run. It was super hot. Heat index was around 111 or so, but the owner of the trail met me at the trailhead when I pulled up to the clubhouse to make sure that I had enough water and double check that I would be safe and everything. So that was really nice. But ended up doing about 5.5 miles on the trail. Felt wonderful. I'm trying to get just a little more trail time in before my race on the 14th, which is going to come up really quickly. So trying to make sure that I am in good enough shape to handle that. So that about wraps it up for this week. Let's take you to next week. Okay, so another week has gone by and managed to get in all my workouts, all my runs, some hill repeats, which felt really good. On Saturday, my long run was intended to be 5 miles on the trail just to test my gear before the race this next weekend. Ended up taking a wrong turn, ended up being close to 10 miles, but you know, it happens and I was prepared for it. After that, things get kind of blurry. We had an unexpected and sudden loss in the family, and thankfully I have had running available to be able to get out and clear my head, which has been a real blessing. But it definitely makes me think about how life is very short and we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow that could change everything that we know. So take chances, let people know you care, seize opportunities, and live every day like it matters. So I will catch up with you guys after this weekend's race, and I'll talk to you later. Okay, so another week down. I'm not gonna lie, this was a rough week. Mentally, emotionally, it was really hard. Managed to keep up running every day because that was just kind of how I was clearing my head and working through everything. But strength training just didn't happen. There was no time, way too much to get done. But I did run my first trail race this weekend. I'm going to have a link up here in case you didn't see the video where I talked a little bit about it. But long story short, almost 12 miles, all of the hills, and it's been a day or two and my quads are still absolutely screaming at me. So running this week is, there's not going to be any kind of speed drills, hill repeats, anything like that. Just nice, easy running, trying to let my legs get back into shape before I try and tackle my longest run for the month. Going to try and take it one day at a time this week, see how we do. We'll check in after next week's run. So I skipped a week in putting together a wrap-up of just kind of how the week's training went. So I'm going to combine 2 weeks into one, mostly just because it's been so busy, you guys. We made the decision to do virtual schooling with our older child, and it's been very, very, very time consuming. So I've been having to do that with most of my day, and then try and squeeze in a run when I can. It's either get up super duper early in the morning and then really be tired all day, or I go in the afternoon when right now it's in the triple digits in the afternoon and super humid, so I'm not able to do much outside, so I'm having to stick to the treadmill. So it's kind of, those are my options: get up really early or stick to the treadmill. And just with the way scheduling has been lately, it's been a whole lot of treadmill running. However, I did get my longest run of the month in at 20 miles. Took it easy. Again, it was very hot to be outdoors for as long as it was going to take to get 20 miles in, and so that was all on the treadmill. I have plenty of podcasts to keep me entertained, so that's not a problem. And I was able to knock out those 20 miles. Felt really good. All I know is I'm just not trying to keep a real eye on pace or anything like that when I'm on the treadmill. I'm mostly looking at my heart rate and my perceived effort. And I feel like that's what's really counting right now in getting me marathon ready. I have made the decision that next month, instead of making my longest run 21 miles, I'm just going to go ahead and up it to 22. I've never done a run that's been longer than 20 miles, and so I got to crank up the mental game. And I've got to make sure that I can push through that 20-mile barrier. That's kind of, for some reason, my fear point, where I start getting scared, where I start questioning everything. And if I can just get over that 20-mile hump, I really feel like a marathon could be within my grasp. So that's what I'm going to be working on. Again, over this last week, trying to deal with virtual school, trying to get runs in when I can. Very little time for strength training. I think I really only got about 2 sessions in at about 15 minutes each. And, you know, that's not ideal, but I'm hoping once we kind of get settled into a better routine, then we're going to see how things can go from there. But managed to get through the week, got to my long run this weekend. Since I did 20 miles last weekend, I took it easy this weekend and kept it to just 7 miles. So feeling good. I feel like, although it's not the month that I was expecting, it was still a productive month. I'm still on track for marathon, assuming that it's still going on. With the COVID numbers around here, you never really know, but I'm just going to keep training in the hopes that the marathon will still be on in November. So that kind of gets me through the month of August. I'm about to head out of town for some exciting stuff, so make sure you stay tuned to the channel so that you don't miss anything else that is coming up. I will see you guys back inside. So there you go. As you can see, this month definitely had its set of challenges, but the good news is that mileage-wise, I am still on track where I need to be as far as marathon training goes. As of right now, as of the recording of this episode, the Little Rock Marathon is still happening in November. So I'm really kind of holding out hope that that's still going to go on, that it doesn't get canceled or pushed to March, which is when the usual date is for the Little Rock Marathon. So waiting to see what happens. But as you saw from the training, my longest run this month was 20 miles, and I felt pretty good with it, to be honest. So going to up things a little bit more next month and make sure that I am still on track to be able to get over that 20-mile hump and be ready to face the Little Rock Marathon head on. Moving on to races and medals for this month. If you've been watching the channel, you know that I participated in my first trail race this month, 11.5 miles for the Scorching Squirrel in Little Rock. And I'm going to have a link up here and down in the description just in case you missed that video where I talked all about the race, so you can check that out for yourself. Also, if you watched the channel before, you know that before I have done the Wonder Woman 5K in person and the 10K in virtual. I have done the Batman 10K virtually, and they have added the Superman virtual 5K and 10K this year. I have registered for all 3 races this year, Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman. And when you register for all 3, you get your Justice League medal. So when those come in, I will be opening those on the channel. I'll show you what you get as a part of the swag for those races. And if you've been watching the channel, then you know that over the past year, I've been participating with 9 other ladies in the circumpolar race around the world, where we are virtually racing around the world and earning medals as we go. We are in an area of the world now that they're calling this region the stands. and we are about halfway through that region. I don't have any new medals to show you, but as soon as I do and as soon as we finish this region, I will let you know, and I will be sharing that with you as we go along. So make sure that you stay tuned so that you don't miss any of that information. As far as new gear goes, not a lot to report this month other than my first official pair of trail shoes, and that's these right here, the A6 Gel Sonoma 6. Now, I have done an entire video with a review of these shoes. I'm going to have a link up here and down in the description so that you can check that out for yourself. Long story short, I am really enjoying wearing them. They're very good for mid distances. I'm not sure about long distances. We're going to have to wait and see. I'm going to have to do a little more research as to what would be the best fit for that if I decide to tackle an ultra sometime within the next year. I've also made a little bit of changing to how I fuel my long runs now that I'm getting up into over 20 miles. I have discovered a great combination that works for me. I don't know if this works for anyone else, but it definitely works for me. I try to keep tailwind on hand and switch back and forth between tailwind and water as I am hydrating. And as far as my fuel goes, I switch back and forth between applesauce packets and these right here. You may have heard me talk about these on the channel before, but these are Jelly Belly sports beans, specifically the strawberry banana smoothie flavor. These are the ones that I really like. And in one package, this is 100 calories. You can also choose to only eat half the package at a time if you want, because it does have a resealable lock here. So very convenient, easy to carry, as well as the applesauce packets. So this has been kind of my go-to as far as fueling for my super long runs. I'm going to try this out some more over the next couple of months because it looks like this may be the route that I'm going to be taking for the marathon. Let's talk a little bit about what's going to be coming up on the channel over the next month. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I am going to be doing an unboxing video for all of the race swag that came for the Justice League series. That's the Wonder Woman 10K, the Batman 10K, and the Superman 10K. So that's going to be coming out soon. Also, if you're familiar with the Run the USA series that I've been working on, where we talk about some of the best and most widely recommended races in each state across the country, we do have the Colorado episode coming up. So if you have run in Colorado, make sure that you drop those comments down below and let me know what you think so I can check that race out and possibly include it in the upcoming video. I've got a book that several of you have suggested that I read, so I'm taking a look at that. I'm starting to work my way through it, so expect an episode of RGG Book Club where I'm going to be talking about that book coming up soon. And by the time this video comes out, I'm going to be in the last stages of preparation for heading to DragonCon. Now, you remember that I love covering not just running, but also geeky stuff on this channel, and DragonCon may be one of the geekiest things that I do. If you're not familiar with it, I'm going to put a link down to the main website in the description so you can check it out for yourself. But it is one of the largest fan conventions in America. I mean, think San Diego Comic-Con, but it covers so much more than they cover at Comic-Con. Basically, think of something that you can be a fan of, and they've got something there for you. So I am going to be doing some updates with all of the geeky stuff that I'm doing, all the cosplays that I'm going to be doing while I'm there, so make sure that you're watching for that. And also, they have an annual run over DragonCon weekend with the organization Geek Girls Run, and we're going to be doing a 5K in Olympic Park in Atlanta. So I'm going to be doing a video on that, so make sure that you stay tuned so that you see how that turns out as well. It's not really a race, it's really more of a fun run and just a chance for us geek runners to get together and sweat a little bit together. And speaking of geekiness, let's talk a little bit about the Spotify playlist of the month. Now, you'll remember that I do a nice little 30-minute or so running playlist every single month around some type of a theme. Last month it was animated films. This month, it's all going to be geek and nerd music. So let your geek flag fly, check out that Spotify play link down below, and enjoy. Well, there you have it. There are the updates for the month of August, and we're headed into September, just the last couple of months of training before the Little Rock Marathon. So make sure that you stay tuned so that you don't miss any of that that's going to be coming up. This is your second reminder that if you have not hit that subscribe button yet, to make sure to click it so that it turns gray, and maybe even hit that bell so that you can be notified every time I upload, which happens a couple of times every week. You can also follow me on social media. All the links are going to be down in the description. You can find me across all platforms under the name Running Geek Girl. Thank you so much for watching. I'm glad that you were here for another month with me, and I can't wait to see you next time. Happy running! And we're testing the new lighting. Not bad.